Hey there. Ready to dive into some career stuff? Web dev careers. It's kind of crazy out there.
Yeah, it is.
Trying to figure out your path is like, I don't know, it's like picking a JavaScript framework. The options change so fast.
All the time.
Yeah, exactly. And today, well, that's what we're looking at. To hop or not to hop? Is job hopping like the secret to a great web dev career? Or is it, gonna totally mess you up?
Yeah, risky business maybe.
So we're diving deep today with this article by Farouk Garj. He's been doing this like software development thing for over a decade.
He knows what's up.
Yeah, he really does. He's built like content management systems, worked
Yeah.
with big global clients.
The whole 9 yards.
I feel like he's that friend who's like mastered every coding language and lived to, actually tell us about it.
And what's really cool is that he's actually been in the trenches. He's not just talking about this stuff. He's lived it.
That's what I like. Practical advice, right?
Totally.
So his article is called It's a Mouthful, Two Paths to Career Growth in Web Development, Staying or Job Hopping. And he starts off with, the classic path, climbing that ladder, one company, the slow and steady kind of thing.
Right. The traditional route.
Sounds good, right? Stability, security, you build relationships. I mean, who doesn't love job security? But then he calls it the illusion of stability.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And that's when I was like, okay, I got to hear more about this.
Right. Makes you wonder if that stability is really all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, because things change fast in tech.
Right. So fast. 1 minute you're on top of the world, next minute.
Exactly. So how do you deal with that? What's the other option? Garage says it's job hopping.
Which, I mean, a lot of people, it feels risky.
Definitely.
Like, are you just going to jump from job to job? What about, like, actually building something?
Right. But Garrick says that it's not just like, being all over the place. It's a reaction to how some tech companies, they're kind of operating these days.
Ah, so there's a strategy behind it.
Yeah, he's saying it's strategic. Like he's observed companies focusing on, the short term, the next deadline, and they don't invest in their employees in the long term.
Interesting. It's almost like they're neglecting their own team in a way.
Yeah. And that stinks for employees, right? Who want to grow with the company.
Big time.
So he's saying job hopping, it's like, almost self-preservation.
Looking out for number one.
Yeah, it's not always about the money, but about taking charge of your career path. Not waiting for someone to give you permission to grow.
Right, like you're in the driver's seat of your career.
Exactly. And he makes a good point, with job hopping, often you get faster salary increases.
Makes sense. Got to prove your worth every time.
Right, and you get to experience different technologies, different ways of doing things.
Expand that skill set.
It's like that fast track to leveling up instead of taking the stairs.
Totally. And especially in a field like web dev, things are changing so quickly you got to stay ahead of the game.
He actually says that mastering like a niche skill, like something specific like React Native for mobile apps,
Oh yeah, that's hot right now.
that can like totally boost your market value. And let's be real, market value equals more money, right?
Follow the money.
So it's not just about being like, non-committal or flaky. It's more about like, constantly learning,
Right. Always be learning.
adapting, and looking for those ways to really improve your skills, your experience.
Makes sense. But I got to imagine there's some downsides to all that hopping around.
Oh, there definitely are. You're always adapting to new environments, new teams, different company cultures. That's got to be, that could be exhausting.
And it's exhausting.
Right. You're constantly like updating your resume, doing interviews, figuring out how things work at the new place.
It's almost like you're always on. No time to relax.
Yeah. And then there's that thing like you might become a jack of all trades, but master of none.
No, spread too thin.
Exactly. So how do you balance these two things? How do you choose the right path for you?
That is the $1,000,000 question, isn't it?
It really is. And that's where Garrett, he really gets into it. He doesn't just like, leave you hanging.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Right.
He gives you a way to figure it out, to make those tough decisions. But we should probably take a quick break. So we're back and trying to figure out which path is right, to stay or to hop. And Garrett, he's got some good stuff here. He wants to empower web devs, take control.
Be your own boss, kind of.
Yeah. And his big thing is, no matter what, upgrade those skills. Always. It's like leveling up in a game, right? You got to keep learning to survive out there.
Oh, absolutely. The tech world waits for no one.
For real. But like, what does that even mean, upgrading your skills? It's not just like, getting a bunch of certificates to make your LinkedIn look fancy, right?
No. Garrett's all about, like, real world stuff. Build a killer portfolio.
Mhm.
Personal projects, open source, even just like talking about what you're learning online.
So show, don't just tell, basically.
Exactly. Prove you can walk the walk.
Because that's what gets you noticed, right? In a stack of resumes, you gotta stand out.
Oh, yeah. And that's where this whole job hopping as security thing comes back. You're not depending on one company to say you're good enough. You've got the skills to back it up no matter what.
You're like, I got this.
Exactly.
It's like he's saying, build your own safety net.
100%.
You're in control, no more like freaking out about finding that one perfect job. You're building a career on your own terms.
And on your own timeline, which, let's be real, can be a little scary.
Oh, for sure. But kind of exciting too, right? You get to choose your own adventure. Which reminds me, Garich, he talks about soft skills. Like communication, all that.
Oh, huge. Can't just be a code machine.
No, you got to talk to people and be able to like adapt to new situations. Especially in web dev, things are always changing.
It's true. You got to be flexible, roll with the punches.
Mm-hmm.
And those soft skills, they're like muscles. You got to work them out, to make them stronger.
So it's all connected, this whole learning, growing, adapting thing.
It's all part of the journey, man.
It's like he's saying, don't be like, just a code monkey.
Right.
Be a person.
Yeah, like a real human.
Yeah.
With thoughts and feelings.
Because it's easy to get like stuck in the technical stuff, right?
Right, for sure. Especially in this field.
And forget that, we're building stuff for people.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Solving problems for actual humans.
Exactly. So you need all that other stuff. Empathy, communication.
All those squishy human things.
Yeah. And that kind of brings us back to what Garge is really saying. Stay or hop, it doesn't matter as much as being, intentional, being thoughtful about your career.
Having a plan.
Yeah. Don't just let things happen to you.
Right. Be curious.
Yeah.
Always be learning.
It's like you get to write your own story, your career story.
Love that.
You're not stuck on that, corporate ladder anymore. You make your own path.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
But also whoa, what do I do?
Yeah. And that's why having, an article like Garich it's so helpful. He's like, hey, I've been there.
Here's the map.
And I survived.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. This one part, it really stuck with me. He said, by building a strong portfolio and, being good at job interviews, you're creating your own safety net.
Ooh, I like that.
You're not depending on one company to keep you afloat.
You're in control.
It's a whole different way of thinking about job security.
Right. It's not about clinging to one job for dear life anymore. It's about having the confidence to navigate the chaos and knowing you'll be okay.
Exactly. Because things change, companies change. You got to be ready to adapt.
Always be learning, always be growing. That's the name of the game.
So as we wrap up here, I think that's the question we'll leave you with.
Yeah.
How has your definition of job security changed? What does it mean to you in, this crazy world we're living in?
Yeah, think about it. And if you want to dive deeper into Garich's brain, check out his website. We'll link it in the show notes.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.